Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I am a mommy of two. I have a 3.5-year-old boy and I just gave birth to another boy. By the title of this video, you know that this is going to be my labor and delivery story. I wanted to share every single detail that I can remember that happened during my labor and delivery. I know I did do a birth vlog, and if you haven't watched that video, I'm gonna link it up there so that you can go check it out. If you've already watched it, you know that everything happened extremely fast and I wasn't really able to get my camera in every single moment and vlog about it. So that's why I wanted to sit down and to share everything that happened. That day I did write down everything in my phone. I had made a note of everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. So I'm gonna share a story with you guys, and then in the end, I want you guys to meet my little baby boy. I did give birth during this pandemic, if you want to call it. I did have to get tested for coronavirus, but it's not that test that you think it is, where they take the swab and they like stick it down your throat or your nose to your throat. I was actually able to take the swab and swab my own nose and give it back to the nurse. Only Rob was allowed to be in the room with me. You are supposed to be wearing a mask during labor, but my hospital, my nurses, they didn't really care. As long as I had it on during transportations of each room that we were going to, they were totally fine with me not wearing it when I was actually pushing. On May 15th, Friday morning, I woke up and I had some spotting in my underwear. I was like freaking out because for my first pregnancy, my water had broke first and then I lost my mucus plug, so that's when I started the spotting and everything like that. So I was really concerned that maybe my water had broke and I had no idea, and that is why my mucus plug and I was spotting and everything like that. So Friday morning, we actually got all of our bags ready. We got the car ready to have a baby. I actually dropped off my son at my parents' house. Oh, I forgot to say that Friday morning I had an appointment at the doctor's to get checked and everything like that. It was my 39-week appointment. I had Rob come with me to the appointment just in case they were telling me that, hey, you know, you should go to the hospital, you're in labor, or hey, your water broke, or something like that. We went to my appointment. The doctor said that I was still 3 centimeters dilated. I'm like 75% sure that the doctor gave me a membrane sweep without my permission. Can doctors even do that? I don't even know. But when he was done checking me, I was in so much pain. I was like making all of the noises that I was in pain. And he was like, sorry, just trying to help you out there. Like, and I don't really know what that means. To me, it sounded like he gave me a membrane sweep. He did say after the appointment, he was like, hey, you're gonna have some bleeding today. That's it. And he just left the room. He didn't really say why I was spotting that morning. He didn't really say anything like that. So he didn't send us to the hospital or anything like that. So we actually came home and all day I was contracting. And usually that's normal after my appointments where I get checked for dilation. It's normal for me to get those cramps. The contractions were strong and they did hurt. And but they were very irregular, so I wasn't like, oh, I'm in labor or anything like that. I kept going about my day. I was feeling very sick that day. Like, I just felt very like nauseous, and not nauseous, but I don't know, I was just feeling off. I did some like things to just really help relieve the contractions. I took an Epsom salt bath. I was just relaxing all day, and then the contractions started picking up when it was nighttime, of course, always. I don't know why it always happens at night, but the contractions always pick up at night. So the contractions were getting stronger and they were getting closer together on Friday night. I was really trying to hold off on going to the hospital, but my mother-in-law and my mother kept telling me, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. At like 11:30, I told my mom, come pick up Macho. I told her I'm not going to the hospital yet, but if I do have to go to the hospital in the middle of the night, at least Macho is at her house and I didn't have to worry about bringing him there or anything like that. So she came and got him, and as soon as they left, I think we left to the hospital like 15 minutes after. I just couldn't take it anymore. The contractions were really, really bad. So me and Rob got in the car. The car was already still packed from that morning, and we went to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, they checked me again, and again, I was still only 3 centimeters dilated, but I was in so much pain. I couldn't breathe through it. I couldn't talk through it. We were in triage at this time, and they told me that they were going to keep me on monitor for 15 minutes, and then after that, if I had no progression, then I would start walking. I don't know at what point they noticed this, but with each contraction, my baby wasn't breathing. My baby's oxygen levels were getting really low with each contraction, and he wasn't having it. At this point, during this contraction, I kind of like blacked out because of how painful it was. I don't really remember everything that happened, but I do remember the nurse came in and she was telling me, hey, you need to breathe. You need to take a deep breath when you're contracting. Your baby is not liking these contractions. Then there was another nurse in there. She was telling her, get the IV started, and everything kind of just happened really fast. My eyes were closed this entire time. She told me that tonight is the night you are having this baby. He is not liking these contractions. And I'm like, well, is that okay? Like, can I have, like, am I ready to have this baby? I didn't want to have this baby if my body wasn't ready to. So I was like, am I in labor? Like, is this labor? And she was like, yeah, this is labor. After all of that, we are now admitted into the labor and delivery room. And as soon as I got there, I was like, hey, I really have to use the bathroom. I had to pee so bad. And they were like, you cannot get up. They really wanted to monitor the baby as much as they could. They were afraid of me even getting up from the bed to use the bathroom. They were just afraid of not being able to see the baby's oxygen rate if I got up to use the bathroom. So she was like, I'm gonna give you a bedpan. You cannot get up from this bed. So I peed in the bedpan. Immediately right after that, I was begging for the epidural. So they had the anesthesiologist come give me the epidural. Everything is happening really fast because the nurse that I had was saying, from my experience, it looks like you're gonna have this baby very soon, very quickly. So that's why they had the anesthesiologist come like as soon as possible to give me that epidural. When you're getting the epidural, you're like sitting up, and right after that I was supposed to lay back down. But as I was laying back down, I was like, guys, I have to use the bathroom again, like really, really bad. And it was weird because I had just finished peeing in the bedpans, and they were like, you're gonna have to wait for a catheter. And I was like, guys, I cannot wait. I have to pee so bad. And as I was saying that, I was laying back down, and I felt all this pressure, and my water broke. And I was like, guys, my water broke. And that was the pressure that I was feeling, or I don't know how it works, but it was the fact that my water was in the process of breaking, and I felt all of that, and I heard it, and it was just crazy. I think like 20 or 30 minutes later, they put the catheter in me and they checked me, and I was at a 6 to 7 centimeters dilated. After that, they kind of let me like labor for a little bit, like just let my body do its own thing. They checked me again, and they were like, oh, like he's still really high up. Like he was high up in the in my stomach, in the birth canal. I don't know. I don't know the correct terms of everything, but they had me sit up a little bit so that, you know, he can go down. I was starting to feel really lightheaded and nauseous, so I think they put me back down. But they said that that could be like the result of like the blood rushing out of my head or something like that when you sit up when you're in labor. I don't really know. It kind of took me a while to get to 9 centimeters dilated, but I got there. As soon as I got to a 9, they gave me the peanut ball, and that is the ball that they put in between your legs when you're laying on your side, and that really helps just everything open up down there. And then I think like 20 minutes after that, nurse was like, hey, do you have the feeling that you have to push or anything like that? And I couldn't really tell. With each contraction, I just felt a lot of pressure, so I didn't really think it was like the feeling to have to push. The other nurse checked me now, and she was like, she's ready to start pushing. I was at 10 centimeters dilated at this point. So I had told the nurse that for my first pregnancy, my first birth, that I did one push with the nurses and the baby's head was like slipping out of me. So we kind of gave her a heads up that it might happen again. I think she asked the doctor if he wanted us to start pushing without him. He said yes, to start pushing with the nurses, and then he'll come in when he's ready. So we got ready to start pushing, and I literally did half a push and the baby's head was already out. It was slipping out of me. She started freaking out. She was like, okay, no more pushing, just breathe, just no more pushing, just stay right there. So she's over here frantically calling the doctor to come in, and with each contraction, I felt the baby's head just slipping out. I think it took like 5 minutes for the doctor to come in, but he quickly had to get gowned up and in his equipment, in his little uniform and everything like that. Then when he was ready, we started pushing, and I literally took one push and the baby was out. Before I started pushing, he was like, hey, do you want to feel the head? Because the head was right there. So he let me feel the head, he let me feel the hair, and everything like that right before the baby came out. And it was such a weird experience. It was really weird touching it, but I'm happy that I was able to experience that, and that he even gave me the chance to do that. The doctor who delivered my baby was awesome. He was amazing. So yeah, my son was born at 6:29 in the morning, and then after that the guys took pictures of Rob cutting the umbilical cord and everything like that. I'll try to insert some pictures here or anywhere so you guys can see that, because they were pretty nice pictures. So the baby came out and everything was fine. He looked great. He didn't spend any time in the birth canal, so they did tell me that he is going to have some fluid still stuck in him. After you give birth to the baby, you give birth to the placenta. And usually the placenta comes right out, I'm pretty sure, but for me, my placenta got stuck inside of me and my doctor had to manually remove it. So what that means is he had to go inside of me and remove it, and in that process he has to like push down on my stomach so that it can like come out. So he has to like push and then also remove it at the same time. He was there for like 7-8 minutes, I want to say, just trying to remove my placenta, and I'm like, is everything okay down there? You know, I was like, what the heck is going on? He's like, yeah, your placenta just is stuck. I have to go in there and remove it, but you know, it's very tedious, because if I even leave just a little bit of the placenta, you can bleed a lot. So he was in there trying to really make sure that every single piece of that placenta was out. The way he described it is that he had to go in there, remove it, and then when he was done, he had to make sure that everything was out by scraping the inside. That just sounds so nasty to me. Thank God I had the epidural, because if I didn't and I had to feel all of that, I already know I would have been in so much pain. That probably would have been more painful than actually giving birth. Thankfully, everything came out just fine. So after that placenta came out, everything was fine. I asked him, I was like, hey, did I tear at all? He's like, nope, you are good. You're like a pro at this. And I was just so happy to hear that I didn't tear. This birth experience for me was just, I honestly couldn't have asked for a better one. At the end of the video, I wanted to introduce you guys to little baby Xavier. This is him, guys. Show you his face a little bit. Oh my gosh. So this is baby Xavier, and he was born 7 pounds 5 ounces at 6:29 in the morning, and he was 19.5 inches long. He's got one little dimple on his cheek, and he is extremely hairy. He's got hair everywhere on his head, his back, his arms, even his ears have hair on them. I think he is going to have Rob's complexion, like that brown tan color, and he is just perfect in my eyes. So but yeah, that is how my experience went. If you guys are about to give birth and go through any of this, I hope this gives you just a little bit of light and positivity, because like I said, I did have a really good birth experience. So I hope you guys have one too. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Say bye!